Now the Flyers may even this up. Konechny gets sticks up high, sticks up high, sticks up high.
Welcome to Sticks Up High, a PhillySportsNetwork.com production. I'm your host, Matt Stinger, also known as Delco Dope on Twitter, where you can follow along there, follow along here, or follow along on Facebook. Sticks Up High, PhillySportsNetwork.com. And welcome into Sticks Up High. Again, I'm your host, Matt Stinger, the Delco Dope, where you can follow along. If you are on the Sticks Up High podcast, welcome in. If you're on PSN Radio, welcome in. Thank you for joining along. It has been a month to forget for the Philadelphia Flyers. However, yesterday's 2-1 victory over the Rangers just may spark something. Are the Flyers' troubles over? No, absolutely not. So we're not going to go negative, however, and talk about how bad the Flyers have been. Actually, no, I'm sorry. We are going to talk about how bad they've been and touch on a couple of things in terms of what they've been doing wrong over the past few years. We could go years if you go by Twitter, but and the Flyers fans' reaction there. No, what I mean is we're going to touch on what they've been doing wrong over the past couple weeks, defensively, offensively, and just as a team that has no confidence and just looking a little bit fragile and lost out there. So as we get into it, we're going to talk a little bit about that. But what I meant to say by not going negative, I don't want this to be this is not going to be a bitch fest where all we do is complain about everything, and we're going to say things like how Sam Morin's last two games, I thought he played great, but he's not the answer. I don't want to turn this into a Twitter spat where some people are trying to be positive and some people are negative. Split down the middle, it seems that we've been, for the majority of the year as Flyers fans, kind of like politicians and talking politics on social media. So let's not do that. Let's just enjoy the 2-1 victory. And we got Buffalo next. The Flyers got Buffalo next, who is really, really struggling. So we'll get into that as well. And the Flyers have to take care of business against the Sabres. You want to talk about a fragile team. That team's fragile, but they have firepower and they can do some damage, as the Flyers saw in the third game of the season. So back to yesterday, a much-needed 2-1 victory, and even if they had lost that game and it went to overtime and ended up losing, the fact that the Rangers had just kicked them, a drop kick, like Street Fighter style kick, where in the mouth, 17 goals in 2 games, and Mika Zibanejad just having his way with the Flyers as if he's in pro playing in the developmental men's league, 50 plus. They were able to shut them down to the point where they only got the 1 goal. It was a power play goal on a ill-advised penalty from Konechny. I think he's trying to stir things up there, and you can't blame him for wanting to try and get the Rangers out of their game and the Flyers a little bit going. And he's frustrated, I'm sure, having not scored a goal in a while and not really being much of a contributor to the Flyers. So try to get things stirred up, and actually Zibanejad ropes him in, and TK gets the penalty there for unsportsmanlike conduct or roughing or whatever they gave. And we'll talk about the referees and inconsistency a little bit in a minute here. But I don't want to harp on the refs as being the reason that the Flyers have been struggling, because they haven't. The Flyers have been the reason the Flyers have been struggling. The referees have been bad, inconsistent, yes. But TK gets the 2 minutes. Later on, he gets punched in the face and gets a bloody lip and no call. Those are the type of things we'll talk about. But sits for 2 minutes and the Rangers go to work. And, the Rangers passing on a power play is really good. Zibanejad sneaks down behind Myers, who's caught puck watching, tapping goal. There's Elliott can't do anything on that. 1-0 Rangers. The collective sigh from South Philadelphia. Here we go again. Zibanejad, right? This freaking guy. he was snake bit, couldn't score at the beginning of the year, and now all of a sudden he plays the Flyers, and here he comes, right? Everything that Flyers fans, we do as Flyers fans, okay? We look at that negative. So that's not the case. We're going forward. Flyers are starting to lock down a little bit defensively. Do they have issues clearing their zone? Still, yes. Do they not get their ice in the puck? Yes. But as the game goes along, they get that 5-on-3 penalty. All right? Or power play, I should say. 5-on-3 power play. And twice the Rangers, win faceoffs and clear zones. And, Jim Jackson was saying on the telecast that can't happen on a 5-on-3. And he's right, it can't happen. You can't lose that faceoff, especially as good as the Flyers are and as bad as the Rangers were with the faceoffs. But they did, and the Rangers kill off the 5-on-3, but the Flyers strike on the power play with Nolan Patrick getting a redirection from, I believe it was Goss's Bear, slap shot from the point. 1-1, and all right, we're feeling good, right? We're feeling good. Flyers are not giving up the horrible chances that they've been the last two games versus the Rangers. Brian Elliott's playing solid goal. It's just, all right, you're feeling confident about this game. And the third period, it's still 1-1. And the one observation I had in the third period was that I started seeing 55 out there a lot more. I don't remember seeing him all that much in the first period. It kind of seemed like AV was rolling a little bit more of 5D and letting Sam kind of just, relax. Whether that is a strategy because he hasn't played many games and work his way up to kind of get the feel for the different speed from the AHL to the NHL and manage his minutes due to his leg injuries. I don't know what that was, but he didn't seem to see much time there in the first period, at least. In the third period, I started seeing 55 more, and he's out there hitting, he's out there getting in front of pucks, he's out there clearing zones, he's clearing in front of the net, big guy, and it's kind of what they've been missing, especially since Robert Haig has been injured, and I really like saying that. I thought his game was solid. Keith Jones mentioned multiple times that he played a really good game. He may even called it a great game. And I agree. The last two games he played, you don't see him out of position much. He recovers quickly. His head's on a swivel, and he's not getting caught puck watching. He's doing everything a young player trying to make a squad should be doing, whereas the Flyers, other players are not doing, as if, they're not going to sit, and that's kind of the difference, I think. The difference with the Flyers' struggles and what Sam Morin has been bringing. He's been bringing to the Flyers. And again, no, I am not saying number 55 is the next coming of Chris Pronger. I'm not saying that. But he is a big, tough kid out there. And he's bringing what the Flyers lack, some toughness. All right? So, as he plays more in the third period, I noticed that. I actually made a text to the writers for Philly Sports Network saying, hey, anyone else seem to think that coach's confidence in Sam is growing with this? More ice time. And then it happens. And what a great moment. And I was home, I was watching it with my kids. My kids were running around playing. And my wife, and, he takes that slap shot and it goes in, and his reaction and the team's reaction, just priceless. And I jumped up off the chair and was like, just screaming, yeah, as I am a fan, right? And I want to see guys who go through hard troubles like Sam and win and get everything that the hard work brought. Not to mention, and I tweeted this out, his smile. My goodness, his smile, ear to ear, just pure joy, pure happiness. And at the end of the game, they win, pure joy. That smile's there, that was such a great feeling. I don't care what your thoughts are on the Flyers' chances this year. Let's take that moment. Let's enjoy that moment. Let's enjoy a kid working his butt off to get back to the NHL after everything was telling him, you're not going to make it, dude. you know? And I say kid, I know he's like 26 years old, but just a guy who's put in the work, who's tried hard, and has just had to earn his way back. And he did, you know, and he was willing to do anything for the team. He was willing to turn his play to be like a Matt Martin style player. And, you know, he said in his post game, I was lost out there as a forward. I didn't know what I was doing. I'm a D-man. And he is. He's a D-man. Let him be a D-man. A third-line pairing guy, sure. Absolutely. Someone who's going to be physical, defense first, yep. But, you know, he seems smart with the puck, you know? I mean, smart with the puck. His outlets seem pretty good. He's high off the glass when he needs to be. And, you know, just a great feeling, all right? So before we all go negative on Twitter and start saying, you know, this isn't, over, this isn't problems, whatever. Let's just remember that goal. That goal is a type of goal they make, like, Disney movies out of, and that's a little bit over dramatic. I get that. And yes, I'm being a little bit over dramatic here because I think it's important to be like, that's the type of goal that gets you back in the season. A guy who's worked his ass off. That goal, Oscar's 2-goal game, Nolan Patrick scoring last night. The guys that have fought adversity over the past couple of years and came back and did some good, right? Did a little bit of success for the team, helped the team win, as those are the type of goals that can turn around the season. And maybe that's it. Maybe that's the goal that starts the season second half off on the right foot. I mean, look, we can hope, or we can sit there and roll our eyes and be like, no, it's negative, Negadelphia. No, I'm not doing that. I'm tired of that. It's exhausting. Being positive is not exhausting. It's uplifting. It gives us energy. Let's be positive. Let's hope. Let's, keep our fingers crossed. Let's keep an eye on what they're doing out there. Let's keep an eye on our players who need to perform, our performers, getting back to it, the TKs, Bremer, Van Riemsdyk. I mean, look, this guy is just snake bit right now and not producing, but, hey, the goalie, Igor Shesterkin, I'm probably saying that wrong. They call him Shesty. I'll call him Shesty. Look, you don't get a better redirection like that than JVR had on that one shot. I think it was their first power play. It might have been their second. But you don't get a better redirection out front. Like, complete change of direction, and it just happens to go into his pads. Shesterkin is right in perfect position. Pads down, butterfly, that's a goal. How much, like 50% of the time, maybe? I don't know. I'm just throwing a number out there. But that redirection is key, that deflection. Just that's those goals that were going in early on for JVR are not, and that's where the Flyers are at right now. And those guys need to jump it up, need to get producing, and to go along with Couturier, Farabee, and Giroux, and some of the others that have been performing at a consistent basis. So I'm hoping, I'm positive that could be the catalyst to turn around this bad streak they've had in March. They've still got a lot of games. They still got time. They get to the point where Carter Hart can get his confidence back. I feel it. I feel that could have been the turning point of the season, and if so, we're going to look back at this game and the fact that it was big number 55's game winner against the Rangers team that was just beating the crap out of them, that turned the season around. And let's go. Let's see if it happens. What's the worst? Be positive? What's the worst in being positive? They don't do it. Being negative and always waiting for the other shoe to drop, that's that's no way. That's no way to do it, you know? Like, oh yeah, they may be winning, but we knew that, you know, like, at the beginning of the season when they swept the Penguins, were we like, yeah, but you know what? They're going to eventually have a bad month. No, we weren't thinking about that. We're like, this team's good, and they just won without Couturier, and now we're hurt. We got some injuries, and that stinks, you know, but it is what it is. Let's keep moving, and we kind of all were positive. The defense still needs work. They have to stop the turnovers. They have to be able to clear the zones. They have to. Like, I mean, that's basic. There's times out there where the system looks like it just isn't working for them, be it they're all over the place. Wingers are too high up on the boards, not coming down in support, on puck support. Just ripping the puck up the boards and nobody's there, you know, and or going for that stretch pass, you know, that long pass. If you go back to the Devils game, there was a point in the game where I kind of like, it almost like an aha moment, right? And I'd have to go back and watch it, which I can't now, at this point. But the Devils were clearing the zone, and a Devil defender tried to make a pass, and it was knocked down by a Flyers player. And as the puck was there, another defender, Devils player, gets it, goes to make a pass, and it's knocked down again by a Flyers player. So 2 clearing attempts were knocked down, and the puck was loose. Devils jumped on the first one, get the pass blocked, a clearing attempt blocked, and it's sitting there, and here comes the Devils winger, swoops right in and grabs it. There was 3 Devils players to support that one outlet pass, and it was like, that's what the Flyers don't have right now. They don't have that support, that swooping in to get the puck out. Ivan Provorov said the other night after the 8-3 loss is that there's too much of a gap between the defenders and the forwards. So that outlet pass they're trying to make is too big, too long, stretched out, and easy for guys to just knock it down. Especially like a guy like Brock Nelson, whose hand-eye coordination is off the charts and just seems to knock everything down. And like that Islanders game, he was like, you saw him out there, he's number 27, right? And just like, don't pass it near him. But so there's some work to be done there, and I got it, the lack of practices, that having the COVID hiatus really kind of screwed things up, because now the Flyers are cramming games in where they could have practices and not having many practices this season. It's a weird season, but everybody's got it. Like, it's going to hit Boston here soon, and we'll see how Boston reacts to it. Do they have a slide? It's possible, you know. It's highly possible, because they're going to play a lot of games in a little bit of time. They're going to be tired. So they just have to get back to that basic of getting that puck out of your zone. And I wrote on PhillySportsNetwork.com the other day that our Flyers Warriors coach, a little bit on the Warriors here in a minute, Brad Marsh, multiple years in the league, 2-time All-Star, just a defensive defenseman, all-around wonderful human being. At practices, we do a lot of zone clearings, right? And as a career men's leaguer that I am, I've played youth hockey 1 season, and I was young, like 6 or 7, and it was all focused on skating. Didn't come back to hockey till I was in college, because, you know, all my friends were playing football and baseball, and I wrestled, you know, so kind of couldn't do it all, and hockey being an expensive sport. But what I'm getting at here is I wasn't coached my whole life like some of these guys I play with are, and they, you know, there's a difference. Well, Coach Marsh makes it a simple statement as you can make it. We can't score goals if we can't get the puck out of our zone. So we work clearings, right? We work clearing attempts. We work a clearing system. Now, our system is probably similar to what the NHLers do. We are getting coached by a former NHL All-Star, you know, but we also aren't getting hit. Well, we're not supposed to be getting hit because we're old and everyone's got to work the next day. But it's a simple statement. You can't score goals if you're hemmed in, right? So the Flyers just got to get back to that, get the puck out of the zone, live to regroup. If it's just a chip out to center where you're turning the puck over, fine. Make them regroup. Make them chase the puck. And then regroup. Get your line changes. Don't get stuck in your zone. Don't take those penalties when you're tired. And then work moving forward. And you saw a little bit of that yesterday. You saw a little bit of that. They did have times where they were stuck in their zone. I think at one point in the third, big number 55, the man of the hour, was out there for like almost a 2-minute shift and then iced the puck, or someone iced the puck. I don't know if it was him or not, but someone iced the puck and then he got stuck out there for another like 20 seconds. And at that level, you can't be out there that long. That's too much chasing, especially defensive zone. So the turnovers, the passing when you should just go high off the glass or high off, get it out to the center. The icing is okay, but not okay. You don't want to ice the puck. I'm misspeaking here, but if it's a turnover or icing, which would you rather have? Obviously, just ice the puck and let your face-off wizards, if they're on the ice, take the face-off. So more to come on this. We'll see tomorrow night, Buffalo at 7, and we'll see how they do there, and then we'll look to see their style of play moving forward and how Vigneault adjusts, and if the Flyers are listening, because they're quite simply, it looked like the Flyers had lost faith in AV's style, and fans on Twitter were comparing it to like the Hackstall era, and I don't quite agree with that, but maybe it's a team problem and not a coach problem. Maybe it's a team that is refusing to listen. So it's just something to keep an eye on as the Flyers move forward. So just absolute congratulations to Big Sam Morin. That was a fantastic game. It as a Flyers fan who was not feeling good recently and turning on games mid-first period and seeing it 3-0 and being like, well, crap. And here we go again. To have that moment and the time where the Flyers were just not playing good hockey, to be the game-winning goal, your first career NHL goal, was just, it's kind of what we needed as a fan base. So, yeah, all right. I mean, what else is there to say? Okay, like everything else can be negative, but we're going to be positive and we're going to keep moving on. So, again, tomorrow night, Monday night, 7, Buffalo Sabres, the reeling team. Let's go. Let's go, boys. Get up there and whoop their ass.